So hi everyone, I hope you're doing really well. Welcome to this episode where we're going to talk about the 3 S's of why you should buy properties with cash. Number 1 is speed. If you've known anything about or watched any of my previous episodes, you'll know that keep going on about this idea of property is more about people than it is about homes. In fact, I did an entire episode on it, so see the iCard on screen now. I'll also leave a link in the description below for your convenience. But if you can understand that what you're trying to find is motivated sellers who are willing to take a price hit for time certainty, then you're going to have the great opportunity of having a great deal land in your lap. And of course, the way you offer speed is cash. As there's a delay in any other form of finance, cash really is the quickest. And if you can turn around to a potential vendor, potentially through through an estate agent and say, look, this guy is going to be a cash buyer, a real cash buyer, not a bridge or a mortgage, then they may well take your lower offer. Imagine again, you've got 2 people who come to a vendor and say, look, we'll offer exactly the same price, exactly the same terms on everything, except we will complete in 4 weeks and they're going to take 6. Who do you think the vendor may well work with if they're interested in timing over price? So if you want speed, cash gives you that. The second one is the opportunity for scope. And I'd like to illustrate this through a hypothetical situation or example where you say, let's say there are 20 properties available for you to buy in your patch. However, you only have a mortgage. And that means only 10 of those properties or 50% of that market is available to you because you are a mortgage purchaser. Let's say you actually come along and say, well, actually, I've got a mortgage, but also I can use bridging as well. And now 5 of those 10 properties which were previously unavailable to you are now available to you because you've got bridging opportunities. So now you've got 15 of the 20 or 75% of that market. But let's say you've actually got cash. Then all 20 of those, or the 100% of that market, is now available to you because you are a cash buyer. So your scope increases if you have cash. Every single property is available for you to buy. This, of course, contingent upon the stipulations of your potential private investor. Yes, but in theory, you have more opportunity, more scope. So that's number 1, so speed and scope. And the third one is scalability. And let me give you some examples of what has happened in our own property investing experience. Is we have gone with an estate agent, been introduced to a vendor, we've raised private finance, we've purchased a house quickly, we've done what's right by the estate agent and the vendor, and the vendor has then said to us, well, I went and actually did a take-on. Now, a take-on, if you're relatively new to this, is when a valuer from an estate agent will go and sit down, have a cup of tea or a coffee with a potential vendor for an hour, hour and a half, and say, look, would you like us to help you sell your property? And they'll typically get 2 or 3 estate agents around. But the estate agent that can say, look, I understand time is really important to you. Would you be interested in a cash buyer? If so, would you like to be introduced to a guy that we've done repeated business with before? He is a cash buyer. He has a 100% track record of purchasing every single property that he's had a sale agreed on, every single one, whether that's taken 4 weeks to 8 months. Would you like to be introduced to him? Oh, that sounds really good. Yes, love. Who is he? Just sign here, gives you keys. I'll get him round this afternoon or tomorrow morning. And this is the reason why we've then been able to purchase properties before they've even hit the portals, before they even hit the open market, because we've had cash lined up and we've had all our ducks in a row. The estate agent has introduced us to the vendor, and the vendor and us have done that deal with the estate agent's help. And then what happens then is that estate agent says, are you looking for any more deals like that? And you say, well, of course I am, great. And this is the scalability, because they can then keep going to other people and say, look, I've got a cash buyer lined up, you can come around and have a look at your property as soon as you'd like. But on the other hand, so that's deal flow, property deal flow. But on the other hand, you're going to have other private investors who will come to know you and want to have coffees with you. And then you get an increased pool of finance available for you to go and increased opportunities for properties. So your scalability just compounds. Like anything in this property industry, compounding is massively powerful. So they're the 3 S's of why you should buy in cash. If you disagree, or agree, or got something else you'd like to talk about, then you know where the space is for the comments. Just drop your thoughts down there. But for us, it's speed, it's scope, and it's scalability. Now, just before I leave, the value, of course, of working with private finance doesn't just stop in terms of purchasing properties. There is actually a massive tax advantage for borrowing funds for refurbishments. There is a tax advantage for borrowing funds for refurbishments, and Beck is actually going to do a video on that. So what I suggest you do now is hit subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, then you'll be updated exactly as soon as we've done properties. That's going to come out in a few weeks' time, but stay tuned for that. And interestingly, by the way, I happened to pop on YouTube this morning, and one of the things I noticed was 50% of our views come from people who aren't subscribed. So if that's you, hit subscribe and join us, and stay tuned for the tax reasons why you should borrow other people's money for a refurbishment. But let me also explain that in the next episode, I'm going to walk you around one of our own properties and explain how we were actually a mortgage purchaser, how it went wrong, what we did to solve it, how we rescued the deal, and how we ended up with a great profit and a great solution for the vendor and a great outcome for the estate agent. So that's the next one, where we sort of put all this theory of the 3 S's of why you should buy property in cash in this episode. We'll explain in real terms in the next one. Thank you for all of your support. Share your comments. Please like before you leave. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.